All right. Well, I did. That gives me a chance to introduce you guys. I guess I didn't do that yet. So Vlad, that was him listening. We were listening to his review of Gladiator, and Robert, the Frozen Asian. Both of them were at my apartment last night to watch Survivor Series.
Sure were.
So we're lucky we're alive today, because man. Anyways, it was a wild party. That's all I'm saying. It was a wild party, but the party got off to a rocky start because we were all ready to go. We were having drinks and shit, and then the fucking women's WarGames came on. The women's WarGame match, excuse me, and well, it was like a game to them. It seemed like it was. But anyways, this morning I woke up and went through some reviews online of some wrestling podcasters, and yes, a lot of people were criticizing this match. So I'm not going to give a review, a full summary in my review here today, but I'll refer you guys again to the links in the description if you haven't seen it. If you've seen it, cool. Let's review the match. So here's some slides. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but some summary. The baby faces came out first, then the heels, and then Nia Jax was the first to enter. So Nia Jax did the whole match, however long it was. I don't know. It must have been like 40 minutes or something like that. So Nia Jax was in there for the whole freaking time. And I think we were talking a lot about weak-looking chair shots. So I think I could play some of these because it's just going to be like 2 seconds. So I'm hoping I won't get clipped for copyright. But let me just place an example of some of these bad chair shots. Here's Nia hitting Naomi, it looks like.
Jax is using now on Naomi.
Oh, damn! She fucked her up with that one.
Yeah, I know, man. Shit.
Yeah.
Why did she stop? Like, I think she looked like she was. She's gonna hit her, and then she's like, she doesn't want to hit her. Like, why would you hesitate? You're using a steel chair. You're trying to wipe someo's head off. You might as well.
I think that was the point. She was gonna give her a headshot, but then she's like, "Wait, we can't do that anymore in WWE." And so she was trying to hit her in the back, but it looked all kinds of fucked up. That looked really bad.
Here's on to Bayley.
Her best to protect herself, and Jax just swinging wildly.
Swinging wildly. Here's another one.
That's one way of looking at it.
Corey Graves. I don't know. Here's Candice and Nia missing with the shot. Here's Io, I think, throwing the chair down at Candice.
Situation.
So
I mean, that one's still okay. I mean, not the worst one.
I don't know. Anyways, I'm skipping. I'm going to skip to the end of the match. All right. So it wasn't a well-worked match, this one. It was the opposite of the men's one. It was like very sloppy and weird, and they didn't lay it in. And that's odd because I think usually the women want to show that they're just as good as the men, and they have stepped up their game in WWE in recent years, but this was like a bad example. But anyways, so last person in was Liv Morgan, and she obviously has been having that long-standing feud with Rhea Ripley, so she didn't want to come in. She ran away at first. I thought she wasn't going to come, but she came back with a baseball bat. So interesting. She's got a weapon. Here she is facing off with Rhea Ripley, and Rhea takes off that cool-looking mask she was wearing. So she's got like a scar, it looks like, and kind of dyed her eyes black. So give her an interesting look about that eye injury. She has a broken orbital bone, so back pretty soon. And she wrestled without the mask, so I don't know. They must have been really careful or something. But all right, so they did. They all ganged up on Rhea. The heels held her down, and they let Liv tee off on her with the baseball bat. And Io, here's the spot where Io went to the top rope. So they did stereo top rope dives with Io and Tiffany. So this was what Vlad was saying. The reason they need to have that cage open is to do these top rope dives every year. So, all right. So I think Tiffany doing that dive onto a bunch of people at the bottom led to the spot where she pulled out her Money in the Bank briefcase and had a moment where she could cash in on either person, but again took forever and it didn't happen. So this is tease that they've been overdoing, basically. And I think Io Sky came in with a fire extinguisher to stop that. So that was the end of the Money in the Bank. And then the finish of the match was a Rhea Ripley riptide on Liv Morgan through the table. So good spot. So they tried to save the match at the end, but baby faces win, but it was a struggle. All right, so I'll start with Vlad this time. I'll go back to Vlad. So 90 seconds. Oh, what was our reviews? Okay. before I move to Vlad, on our rating system, Vlad and Robert gave this a thumbs down. They didn't like it. And I was the only one out of the three to give this 2 thumbs down. So minus 2 points on my Survivor Series review for the sloppy work, basically. You know, and another boring, just, you know, predictable ending with the baby faces winning. But all right, Vlad, that's all you. 90 seconds.
Well, I think to be fair, you know, like, I don't want to be one that only criticizes AEW. I should definitely, if there's stuff to criticize on WWE, I should do it. And this is one of the things that needs criticism.
Please be fair to AEW, Vlad. You rip on them too much.
I rip on AEW deservingly, but when WWE also needs to be criticized, they also, you know, should be called out for it. And this match was a disaster, bro. The only reason I didn't give it 2 thumbs down is I think it got a little better at the tail end. And it finished semi-strong, you know, with Rhea and all that stuff, and some of the spots, you know, like you showed with Io and Tiffany. I mean, again, I'm not in love with those spots, but at least they were done reasonably well. So the beginning of the match, though, man, I don't even know how to describe it. It's something that you expect to see in like wrestling school, like just somebody that just is practicing these moves, but like it was a disaster. Now, to be fair to the other women, it seems like the majority of the disaster was from, what is her name now?
Nia Jax.
Nia Jax, yes, excuse me. Most of the problems stemmed from her, and obviously, you know, my thoughts on her in general are not very good as a worker, so not surprising there, but what's surprising is they let her go out first, I think, in retrospect, which means you had to be there, like you said, the whole match. Wouldn't it make more sense for her not to be there that long at all? She's the worst worker. Why would she be there the whole time? I don't know. I mean, it was really bad in the beginning and very cringy, and I'm sure a lot of this stuff is going to be in, like, Botchamania, and deservedly so. Like, you know, I know you said, like, I'll finish up in just a second. I know we're on a time crunch here and my time is up. But I know you said, like, the women are trying to show that they're just as good as the men. I think outside of Rhea, maybe Bianca, and maybe Bailey, like, most of them are just not, dude. I'm sorry. Like, a lot of the good women workers are currently not even there. Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch now is maybe retired or maybe just taking a long break. Who knows? So that's the thing, like, a lot of the good ones that you would consider the workers that we're not even involved in this. So, no, there's no way they can.
But all these girls, I think their work is better than this. This was just a weird, anomalous match, I think.
Well, I think because of the style of match, but you have to be prepared for that. If that's the match you're going to do, that maybe you don't have to use. Like, the men didn't really use that many weapons. So, like, why did they just rely heavily on chairs and garbage cans and things like that? Like, if you don't know how to work those objects, or you're not sure what you're going to do, then don't do it. It's as simple as that. Like, the cage is itself a weapon, right? So use the cage. I don't know. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to take up too much more time.
Yeah, but I don't think it was just Nia. I saw everybody kind of doing weird stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Not just her, but she was the biggest culprit.
All right, Robert, you go ahead. Women's working. You gave this a thumbs down. You don't usually give thumbs downs. You're very rare that you actually give thumbs downs. You're very, you know, not a reviewer, but
that makes me think I should have said that this makes me sick.
Okay. I actually could have given this 2 thumbs down also, but I gave it just a 1 for the same exact reason that Vlad gave it just 1, is because it did get better towards the end. They tried. I don't know if they tried to salvage it, but it did get better. Too many botches at the beginning and middle. Also, something that I found really odd was towards, I want to say, the middle or maybe closer to the end of the match. Bailey and Io Sky had this stare down with each other during the match. And I don't know what triggered it. I know they have history, right? But I don't know if it's something that happened in the match that triggered them to, like, just stare at each other. But they had a stare down, and I'm like, what? Why here? You didn't have that pre-match in the backstage or, like, right before you guys came out, or why during the match? It made no sense. I was I was looking back, at the highlights. I didn't see if there was something specific in the match that triggered that, but I thought it was a weird spot. Yeah, not a good match, but it did get better towards the end. At least at the very end, it did get better. So that's why I only gave it one thumb down.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough of that for the women's war games. At first, I thought it wasn't going to be a topic on our show. Like, I didn't think it was going to make the show, but it ended up making the show only because it was so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, if it was a normal match, we probably wouldn't have even talked about it.